All right, and welcome back, folks that saw the stream yesterday, and welcome to everybody that's joining us for the first time today. Chris Garlock here, of course, with Michael Redmond. Welcome, Michael.
Hello.
Been doing this for so many years, but it's been a long time since we were
Yeah.
in the last year in Vancouver.
In Vancouver, yeah.
That's what it was.
About a year, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit more. Anyway, very good to have you back in the States and back at a Go Congress.
Right.
We were trying to remember, I think the last Go Congress I remember you at was California, if I'm not mistaken. Was there one after that?
Yeah, I was in Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah, right. I think that was my last one.
Yeah, which was a minute ago.
It was my, yeah, you're going to say, yeah.
I will say that everybody has been very excited to have Michael back here. I heard that your simuls sold out like immediately.
Great, yeah.
So yeah, people, I guess Jules was telling me that as he was carrying the sign-up sheet, people were like trailing behind him to sign up. So all the pros are popular, but
Of course,
Michael, of course,
yeah.
is very popular. So we're very happy to have Michael here. He will be doing the commentary for this morning's games. He will be joining me again tomorrow night when we'll be commenting the final of the INAF match, which is pits a young Japanese player against one of our young American players.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is the
Two very strong players.
So we'll talk more about that. So couple of things. You can go ahead and I actually have Todd, who is running the Strong Players Room. He's monitoring the chat because I have a lot of other things going on here. So we'll try and keep on top of the chat. I think most of you know this is our second year we're using these ISIS electronic recording boards, which has enabled us not only to broadcast more games from the Open. It's always been a challenge in the U.S. Open because people would prefer to play in the Open.
Yeah.
I think it's a record number of people playing this year. It's a record Congress, and
It's
of
a big
course,
Congress,
big
yeah.
Congress, almost 600. And I haven't checked. You can check on the Congress site. On League Go for the number of players. I may check that when I turn things over to Michael. I think there are probably 450 or so players.
Just players, right?
Something
Yeah.
like that. Anyway, it's a really big, strong field, and so it's hard to get people who are willing to sit and record somebody else's game when they'd rather be playing. And so the electronic boards enable us to have
Have the boards
record
right.
them. And Michael and I were talking. I've been doing this for a while now, and it seemed like every year somebody would come up with. I think one year somebody had a camera that was going to transmit and record the boards, and somebody else had a board. Actually, they had the idea of this board, but it was really just an idea. So I think 2 years ago, somebody, maybe it was Solomon Smilak, had brought some of these boards. They're rather expensive. They're almost $1,000. And Solomon had brought one, and Todd went to check it out, and he came back, and I was like, yeah, I don't think it'll work. Because it's complicated. You need a board that will actually reliably record the moves.
Right, yes.
Much like the problems with game recorders who drop moves. But it turns out these boards are really, really good. And as long as the players, they need a little bit of training at the beginning to make sure that they put the stones have to be placed precisely.
Yeah.
Anyway, the upshot is that for the last year and then for the pro quals and for a couple of other tournaments, we've been using these boards. They've tested really well. So we have 6 top boards that Michael, you don't have to comment all of them.
Okay.
You probably will.
I probably will, yeah.
But it gives our pros some choices. Before we'd only have a few games. And so we have choices. We can jump around. This is for Keith Arnold, who likes to see how long before I mention tennis, but it is I got this idea from tennis because tennis, they will have cameras on courts way down to like court 17, and so if something interesting happens with some upset on court 17, they can jump there, and we've never had the ability to do that, and we can do that. This year, we're going to start with these. We have the top 1 dan board and the top 1Q board.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and those actually, everybody was like, "Oh, we're not sure if those people are going to want to have their games streamed," and the players could not have been more excited, and they get to have Michael comment their game. So I told them Michael would be kind.
Okay, I'll remember.
So we're going to actually, and rather than going from the top board down, we're going to go from
The Q game, yeah,
the Q
of course.
game.
Yeah, yeah.
So just before we get started on that, we haven't talked in a while. How are you doing?
Yeah.
What's going on with
I'm
you?
really busy writing my book, of course. So yeah, I'm here to sort of tell people about it. There is the AlphaGo Zero book that I put it, the fourth of my series, and it's about the games that AlphaGo Zero played against itself. So it's the 40 block games, AlphaGo Zero at its strongest. So I think that's as far as AlphaGo got before they sort of retired it.
Had other more lucrative things
Right,
to
yes.
do.
And it's pretty amazing. And it starts with the game at the first game they chose to publish, DeepMind, was when it didn't really, it only learned the rules, so it didn't really know how to play Go. So that one was not so exciting. It was exciting in a different way because it didn't make any sense. But then from the second game on, it was already pretty awesome. Just a few games into I think it was a 40-day training session, you might say, and they chose 20 games out of it, so various points. So just a few games in, it was playing almost superhuman. I think it was superhuman after half a dozen games. Yeah.
I remember when you had looked at those games originally when they came out, and they were just incredibly complicated games. And do you talk a little bit about that? Because I think this was the fourth. We always know it's going to be the fourth volume of the series, and
Right.
they were the toughest games. The games of AlphaGo against Human were relatively short.
Well, at least it was easy to understand who was winning because it was pretty one-sided.
Right.
Yeah. So when even the master games where AlphaGo Master played against itself at an advanced level, it was stronger than the AlphaGo Master that played against the humans, and those games were pretty amazing. But then with AlphaGo Zero, I still was not used to the AI way of playing. So a lot of it was very alien to me, and I was having trouble not only understanding, I was having trouble accepting these weird new moves. And so when I looked at this last year, as I was writing the book, I was looking at it in the context of my knowledge of AIs, and also with the use of Katago as a tool to research the game. It made a huge difference.
Talk a little bit about that, because I think for a lot of folks, it's the question of how, both for society in general, right? How do we use these incredibly powerful new tools? So I remember, when we were, 10 years ago, of course, when we we saw the AI before everybody else did.
Right. Yeah. We saw the power of it.
And you kept wanting to get in. They never let us behind. They never opened the road, right? I mean, they never let us in to see. And you kept asking. You wanted that, and then so getting your hands and having Katago to do the analysis. So talk about how you would use that.
Well, just seeing the moves and sort of memorizing them would not do any good, because I have to understand the move in order to be able to handle. Obviously, my opponents will play various moves. They won't play the move that the computer thinks that they're going to play, and I have to be able to handle all these variations. In order to do that, I have to have an understanding of the meaning of the move, or my own understanding of the meaning of the move also. And the quality of this understanding is what's making the difference between top pros and non-top pros, and all the way down. It's always the quality of your understanding of what's going on. And with a tool like Katago, you can, for instance, I can input the move that I want to play that the computer did not play, and I can find out why it's wrong according to the computer, why it's not functioning, and how bad it is compared to the computer. So like the computer, Katago might be suggesting a move that I don't feel comfortable playing at all.
Sure.
If that happens, I want to play here, what's so bad about that? I can force Katago to convince me because I can put in variations and it will suggest moves for those variations and it will show me a point score for the winning percentage and stuff. And so eventually I might decide, okay, well, I guess I have to do this, or maybe I'll decide, okay, I'm going to go with my move, and I'm going to just forget that because I'm never going to understand what Kata was trying to do.
You can't do the follow-ups.
Yeah, and I don't want to, basically.
So you want to play your game.
Yeah, right. So there, I have the ability to make that decision, and also in the process, I get to translate the AI suggestions into something that a human can understand.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a human story that we have when we play our game. There's a plan we have. There's something the opponent did that messed up that plan. There's a reaction to that. There's a whole story to the game, which the story gets better and better the stronger you are. So the strong players have really good stories about their game. And it comes to a conclusion. And the fact that they have a story is what makes them strong. And so being able to attach the story to what Katago gives me is a very important part of understanding what. And of course, AlphaGo, it was a black box, so we didn't have that.
Right, but back to the book, when you were looking at these incredibly sort of alien, games, right? I mean, you had to go, and going through that process, you had sort of two bites at the apple because we went over them originally, and then this was years later.
Yeah.
And so I think two things. One is you had been using the tool more, so you were more fluid with
Well,
it.
I didn't even have the tool.
That's right.
It was Katago came after.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah.
It's the same.
Which to me
set of weights, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So I remember because it was really, you had all the stuff that you were just doing on your own, trying to understand
it's
them.
pretty much lost.
Yeah.
To be frank.
But you faked it pretty well.
I faked it pretty well, I guess. Yeah.
So coming at it for the book and also having the time, I think we knew last year that we were going to try and push to get it out by this Congress. I think there were times when we weren't sure because I think we had talked about it at Vancouver. Because I think having gone through that experience originally, you were a little concerned because you knew how complicated the games were.
Yes.
How was it coming back and looking at the games again with this tool?
Well, I think I relaxed a little bit, and I at first I was a bit critical of AlphaGo, just because it was so different and it was something that I was having trouble to understand, and so. That created a kind of friction that made it very difficult for me. And I think I sort of let go of that. And that helped. And there was the fact that in the final book, I'm not quite getting as deep into the woods as I did before. So I'm
What, you deep in the woods, really?
I'm trying to keep things simple enough that I hope that people will understand them, basically.
And tell the story.
And tell the story, yeah. So it's more of a textbook than the previous books were, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm finally, I think it was a kind of an emotional piece that I got to with AlphaGo, which allowed me to do that.
Yeah, I have to say, because it was my job to take Michael's extensive commentaries and do these introductions and try and turn that into prose. I will tell you, I used AI to as a first cut to try and figure out that. I've told people who are not necessarily Go players that I think that there is a real story going on here, and it's fascinating. Anyway, you can check it out, Ghosts in the Machine.
Right. Ghosts in the Machine. It's a new book.
Sort of poetic, right?
Right, yeah. It's a nice title.
All right, folks, let's, I'm really, again, this is the first time. I am so excited. We've been actually dreaming about this for years, of the ability to have, we love the top boards and we love doing that. But I really want, hopefully some of these are folks who may eventually wind up on top boards. So it's a chance to see some folks earlier in their career.
Yeah.
So we are
Let's just get into the game.
Yeah, I know. Champing at the bit here.
All
right, let me transition here. And if we got this, we get this first game here.
This is the Q game.
And are we caught up with it?
Yeah. No, it hasn't moved for a while, so maybe not.
Let me just check and make sure that we're...
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, okay. Something strange has happened, but we'll
Okay,
find
we
out.
will
We'll find out.
transition. We will find something strange has happened.
In
Sorry,
the Go,
but
yeah,
it's
it
a
wasn't.
Q, it's a Q game.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so this is the position. They're doing stuff in the center of the board, but it was actually looking like fairly strong players. They were looking like they were better than Q players until now, when they're starting to look like Q players. Okay, so they start the game, and they're going to play the small avalanche Joseki. So I bet the people who grew up with AI don't even know what I'm talking about when I say this.
Small what?
People don't play the avalanche Joseki anymore. Sometimes you see some pros play the small avalanche, but it's a bit unusual because an AI will tell you it's okay to just avoid the complicated variations. So they'll have you play something like this. Maybe just curl around. You can curl around once and play the slide. That would be the default move that I would advise people to try if you're playing the small avalanche. Looks like someone wants to come
Somebody wants to come out. I don't know. Who's there?
in. Okay.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Carry on.
Or you can
I forgot to
crawl.
put a sign on the door.
Yeah, you can crawl, and some people wait here. But anyway, I would suggest this variation for most players who are not familiar. Black takes the territory. It's a simple variation. The AI tends to like it. Tends to give Black a good score with this. So people don't have to go into the complicated variations. In the old times, people would say, "Hey, this is the head of two." In the old days, yeah, I'm getting to be an old man guy. So this is the head of two stones.
We had to like memorize stuff. I mean, guys like you really had to memorize. Even amateurs like me had to know the large avalanche, the small avalanche.
Well, we had to both not just memorize it. You have to understand what's going on because all sorts of stuff happens here. It's one of the most complicated Josekis. The small avalanche is easier than the big avalanche. There was a game, one of the games that AlphaGo, in one of its earliest versions, when it played Fan Hui, it played this weird variation of the large avalanche, and it was probably making mistakes. But we know that it beat Fan Hui in the end. I think that was maybe one of its more shaky games against him. But after that, I haven't seen much of the large avalanche.
Well, and also that was the AlphaGo
So
that was
large
trained off
avalanche.
of human games. So that
It was the Lee Sedol version that was way weaker than it was when it played Lee Sedol. It was a year before, several months before that. So that was the version that Lee Sedol saw, and he thought it would be easy. Yeah.
oops.
Okay. So even now, when we're heading towards, this would be the large avalanche. Even now, an AI will tell you to play here, and you're okay. So it's still okay for Black. And so people tend to avoid the complicated variations. So like this one, this is the Joseki that Go Seigen, the famous Go player from the 20th century, the Chinese who went to Japan, and he played all those 10-game matches against top players. He played this one, and am I going in too deep here? You look like, okay.
I mean,
well, never mind.
we do have 8 games.
He did 7 games. He did invent a lot of new variations for this. He researched this Joseki. It was one of his weapons, basically. But people don't play it anymore. So in this game, they play the small
Let's see a
avalanche.
Q player playing the small avalanche.
Yeah.
He
So-
spotted it right away, by the way. Looked at it in like 20
We're
seconds.
going to talk about this, yeah. So White plays here. This is still the main variation of the small avalanche. And so usually you would play here. This was the old variation where White plays like this. And Black gets to squeeze and take the ponuki. White gets a ponuki too. So this
Everybody's
is the old
happy.
Joseki that no one plays anymore. So you just forget it. That was just to look at.
Never mind.
Nowadays, White plays the small avalanche Joseki. White goes for the avalanche Joseki only when the ladder favors White. And that's this ladder where if Black crawls here, White can cut here. And there's a ladder here, which is going to hit this White stone at 018, if I'm judging it correctly. It's just going to go diagonal like this, and it's going to hit this stone. So that stone that I've marked is going to break the ladder. And so this is going to be a collapse for Black if the ladder doesn't work. So what Black has to do, the answer for Black is that this is already bad. So Black has to do something like this, which would win the semi in the corner. and something like this, and black would add a stone here. This would capture the white stones in the corner. This is actually a joseki that sometimes you see people playing it, I mean strong people playing it still. So there's going to be a fight in the center. Maybe white's going to play here, maybe white's going to jump. Maybe white's going to push. So the fight after this has changed a lot also with AIs, but it's a pretty even fight. AIs tend to like black even now, but it's a small enough difference that it doesn't make any difference to the human players. Okay, so that's how they should have played. White apparently knows this joseki, and that's pretty impressive for a Q player.
Very impressive.
But in the game, black rolled here, so it shows that maybe black wasn't so familiar with the joseki. And he didn't try for the ladder. He played here, so he's trying to save those stones. It's not going to work. Yeah, so that was just a loss.
Oh dear.
So what black has to do here is he will threaten the ladder a little bit, maybe push a few times.
Get a little height.
Yeah, and he can curl here, and white's going to cut. So black gets another Atari here, maybe something like this, and it's
not great.
a bit painful. It's a bit painful in the corner, but black does get to play on both sides.
It's not a disaster.
Right. Yeah. It's a minor.
It's a small disaster.
It's a small disaster. Right? So this sort of enlarged the loss, and okay. So white handled that fine, and white's feeling happy about the game. But now they're going to get into another fight. Okay. This is where white should be happy just to break through here, or if black plays. You might have thought of this, but this is just bad for black. It's just good for white.
Oof.
Yeah. So black's gonna have to extend. White gets to break through. There's still some maji with this stone, some potential, and black stones on the outside are sort of very weak. So, for instance, something like this and some kind of a pincer would be one way it could turn out. So those two black stones are going to be a liability. White hasn't really lost very much on the right side. So instead, white plays here, makes it a bit more exciting. Okay. So at this point, white can save the two stones in the center. White can win the semi on the right side. White can do either of those things. I would probably go for the center.
You're talking about something like S.
S13 is actually,
S13.
I think that's what he did in the game.
Yeah.
I probably would have jumped in the center or maybe pushed. I would probably want to save those stones in the center. Another way for white to do it would be another ladder-related move, where if white plays here and black answers, white can capture these stones. Looks like white can capture this in the ladder too. So black would answer on this side maybe, and white would be able to attack here. So I like this one.
You want to keep the stones separated.
Right, yeah. And attack black on the top side.
Right.
So white has some, since the corner group here is so strong, white does have some potential to be active in attacking black on the top side. So I might have done it that way. Once white is extended, maybe it's okay to play here. This is the game move. And he's going to win the semi. So like this, that's okay. And here. So this, maybe it was an opportunity for black to squeeze a bit. So if black had played here, white would have played there and here. And if white leaves it, white's going to lose the semi. So if white plays elsewhere, black can, let's see, can black do it with this move? No, that doesn't work. So black has to fill liberty on this side. And in this variation, black's going to win by one move difference.
Move, yeah.
So let's see if I'm right here. So like this. Playing the hane here fairly early is a good idea, and then black can start filling liberties from the outside.
Yep.
Yeah, so a one move difference. If black forgets to play that hane on the first line, black's going to lose the semi. So let's do it the wrong way, just to show.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so what black had to start with that T12 move, which is a tetsuji. You'll find it in puzzles. So Go puzzles, you're going to find this if there's a big set of puzzles, it's going to have this one. Okay, let's get back to the game. So, yeah, someone wants in.
Carry on. I need to put a sign on the door.
Okay, white could not escape here. White could not escape here because black can push through and cut. And it looks like white breaks through, but it's not going to work. So in this case, if white comes straight through, black can capture like this. And that captures it. Or if white cuts here and gets an extra liberty, but it's still gonna die.
Oh dear.
So this is a collapse. So white could not escape. So this is where it starts to get a bit weird. So white could not escape by jumping out here. The only way that white, because in that variation, let's just go through it quickly again. Black can actually, although it looks like white breaks through, black can actually capture the whole thing. So that was something that white could not do. It wasn't going to work. But, see, he jumped out. So the only way white could have potentially escaped would be to sort of squeeze out this way.
Just sort of hack his way out.
Yeah, hacking. And
Oof.
black cannot capture these stones, but it's going to be a bit painful. So it's sort of hard to see how black's going to continue. Black might just sacrifice, for instance, with something like this. Try to sacrifice on a small scale. Black still has this moyo in the bottom right is still intact. So it's probably not that satisfying for white.
So I think so this is a Q game. So I think the thing to be thinking about here is that and I think even going back to the beginning, I'm very impressed that Q player is doing the small avalanche. I think that one of the reasons that the AI does a simpler one is that it's harder to get in trouble.
Right.
With this small avalanche, I forget how many moves it is, but it's a lot of moves, and each one is an opportunity. And if also, Michael points out, you have to know what is the purpose. You can't just memorize a sequence. You have to know what is the purpose.
Right.
The thing that's going on here is I think White has sort of forgotten the plot here of what's actually happening. And what's happening, I mean, if black is getting all of this thickness here, and so...
Well, usually you would be able to escape with this move, because usually you stop reading at this point, and you think, okay, white's broken through.
Sure.
But I was just showing it doesn't actually... So in this case, I think it's more just the calculation that was missing. But I think and black was convinced that white could escape, so he played here. So it turned into the best possible move. It turned into a great success. White could just play the bamboo joint here, and this would already be good for white.
Right.
So like one mistake, if your mistake works, sometimes it's better than the correct move. Okay, this is okay up to this point. But white stopped saving it. So white should continue saving these stones. They're the cutting stones. If white saves these stones, black's group on the top side is going to be in trouble. So for instance, even if black gets to cut here, white gets to cut here. Black's in more trouble than white is. So white should have done that, but he plays here. This is kind of a loose connection. It prevents black from cutting here because it's going to be a ladder. So in that way, it's a good move. And black plays here instead of capturing the three stones. This is where it started to look. So black should just be very happy to capture these
finishes everything.
Cutting stones. And it's, black messed up in the bottom left corner, but it's not a big... As far as territory is concerned, it's only about 10 points. So if we look at the rest of the board, white has about 30, 40 more points, maybe a bit more than that. So white has something like 50 points. If black can get this position in the center, plus the position on the left side, that's already close to 20 points. He needs 30 points in the bottom right. White is ahead, but it's not at the end of the world yet.
So just for Q plays here, for anybody, but it's about points, right? And we get distracted by the fights because the fights are fun. But if you go back to the correct move for black, back to capturing the stone. So when black captures a stone, right? First of all, so black has no more worries about that upper group because eventually.
Group on the right too. This group isn't as strong.
Right,
as
right.
Look, yeah.
So if white connects out, black has two weak groups, which even if they don't die, are never going to make any points.
Yeah.
And so once black connects, black is totally thick and concentrate, as Michael is saying, on making territory.
And in this case, this group that white has here, it's sort of liable to. It's on the way to linking up to that group that white has in the bottom left. Sort of difficult to attack the whole thing.
Sure.
So starting by reinforcing your own position and then attacking next time is probably the right idea here.
Right.
It's getting really messy at this point where both sides are making mistakes. Both sides will have opportunities here. So, for instance, it actually it's not going to mess up their SDF record if I add stones here, but it's going to mess up mine. So I'm not going to do it because this record it's going to change the layers. But so they played here. Let's just play a different move for white. So black can actually pull out here.
That's right.
And white has 3 liberties, black has 3 liberties. It means that black can squeeze from this side. So
that's
black gets some
very
forcing
nice.
moves. He won't play it that way. He'll probably just play this is the one stone he really needs. So he gets that squeeze. It means all of his stones in this vicinity are strong. So even when white plays the game move, which is here, black can do that squeeze, and everything is strong, so he's in a position to attack.
Well, white actually is really
And white's still
very thin.
not safe yet. So both sides will have possibilities. When black does this squeeze here, it's going to reduce white's territory a little bit. It's still about 10 points, but strengthening all the black stones, and then black would continue. Let's do this variation, and then black would continue here, capturing. Now he's captured the center on a larger scale, and the game is it's getting closer. So he's catching up. So that's enough for this game, I think.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It was fun to see the small nadare, the small avalanche in English. I was using the Japanese word there, and actually the way they played on the right side here, it was fairly good. So like the way that white reinforced these stones here to win the race to capture is good, because he's made an eye there. So there's an eye here on the T line, the first line here, which means that it's going to be relatively easy for white to win this semi. And so white actually has a good territory here attached to the capture of the 3 stones. So the way he handled that was good. It's just in the center, it gets more challenging, and they're playing some weird moves.
And the last thing I'd say, just before we move on, is that to a real compliment to both players. So first of all, white came in clearly with a plan. White had studied this Joseki and had it right, as Michael points out.
He had it right, yeah.
Black, I don't think, did know this Joseki, but there's a guy that I used to play who his thing was studying Josekis and then springing them, and I didn't know them. But black in this case did what I did, was just had to figure it out himself. And I think, it was able to limit, even though he didn't know
He
it.
did limit the damage, yeah. So that was good.
And that's good.
It's good that at least he got a position on the left side.
Yeah.
So you have to accomplish something with the Joseki.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
good job.
That makes it a trade.
We will move on to
the Don
the
players.
Don
Let's
players.
see, it's going to be more
Kevin
moves.
Lee and Rudy Chen, 1 Don. Oh, my goodness. All right.
Okay, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that I have a talking point for this game. It's going to be a more stably played. Okay, this is unusual, but it's not that bad. Okay, so yes, this P4, the white Kosumi here, is especially important in this game because white does have a position on the left there. So white sort of wants to build this bottom side. The bottom side, white would like to include these stones in a kind of an image of an area here. So it's not going to happen, but at least white wants to make the idea of this area to force black to come in later. So I like this Kosumi. Actually, I would have, with black, I would have taken this opportunity to press down. And then white would have a lot of low stones on the bottom side. So for instance, something like this. White would be very low. And because of that, these stones would not really have anywhere to be useful, because the fact that the bottom, in order for those 2 marked stones to be useful, white wants to be spreading from the bottom side out into the center. So I like this move because of that. And they're playing fairly solidly, but when white's played here, white usually wants to try to sort of avoid playing this move on the side because white's already done something there. So like,
what would be better?
I think white still wants to. Well, white could play this. This would be a kind of a default move that AIs always like, or white could play something like this and link this up to.
Nice framework.
I think for human players, it's good to be consistent. Black has a low position on the right here. It means that white can press on that. So white can press at this point and force black down, making some extra moves towards the center. So this bottom side here really has a lot of potential to spread out into the center. It's going to be challenging for most human players to jump in here. Black might jump in here. It's going to be challenging, and even if black plays it correctly, white will have a playable position. So black might jump in here, but you've already jumped out. So white has opportunities to attack if this happens. And for human players, this is usually something that white's going to have fun playing. So yeah, I don't like that move at c12 that much. And black pincer, okay, that's reasonable. Okay, yeah, and white's taking black space there, that's important. Okay, so this maybe a bit too close to the stone on the right, where White's wants to sacrifice this stone, but wants to move this group out towards the center, leaning on the black corner group as much as possible, so as to create a structure here that can attack the black stone on the bottom side. So instead of leaning towards the black stone, which is what white did, it sort of pushes black out and helps black escape. It's probably better to do something like this. And black's probably going to play here, and white can do something like this. So basically making a more direct threat against the left side. Okay. So yeah, that's a questionable move by black. Black should probably just extend here, and black would be out in the center, and white would be starting to get isolated here. So it was probably okay for white to play a knight's move instead, even though it looks a bit loose. If black makes a threat here, white can always bump against and secure the connection. So that's probably a better shape for white. Okay, let's just follow the game a bit. Yeah, white getting to cut at e8 was, so like I was suggesting black should play here. When white got to cut at e8, this has improved white's shape a great deal. So white's got better shape on the outside, and he probably shouldn't be saving those stones, but it's okay. Like the left side is not that important, so I would say white could just might as well add stones. Might as well add stones to this side and just forget these guys, because white's already got a strong position here. It doesn't hurt very much.
And white should be really keeping his eye on these 3 stones. There you go.
Something like this.
There you go.
Yeah. So white can afford to sacrifice on the left side, partly because white's group is already pretty stable. Black's group in the corner is rock solid, and so there's very little value to these 2 or 3 white stones.
Well, he wants to chase. He wants to make a nice heavy black group and chase it.
Right, yeah. That's asking too much. So like, when white adds stones on the left here, it's going to make white's group on the bottom side weak. And so he stopped. But now these 2 moves are going to be wasted when eventually they could die anyway. Okay, but white did get the capping move. That's a good move. Okay, yeah. Black's moving out. That's good. Okay. All right. Okay, reasonable. Yeah, they're playing like Don players. It makes sense. Okay, so black is not connected though, and he could get into trouble because of that.
909. Yeah.
Okay, so this move, just ignore those 2 moves they played before that. Yeah. Okay, so black thought that was okay. Okay, so there's various levels to that. One is that this would already be painful. One is this level.
Oh dear, yep.
And okay, so black plays here, and the way white did it is feasible because this is a nice move. Only, why did white push through there? So like the exchange of this stone for this stone killed the white stone on the right. So white should just play here immediately. And this time black doesn't get to capture the white stone, so black has to connect, and white can do stuff like this, and black's falling apart on the right. So that would be a complete success for white. And the whole black group here, it still doesn't have 2 eyes. So if white can play at this point later, black's still going to be in some potential trouble. So pushing through here, this saved black, because now black has captured that stone. Okay, yeah. Well, that was a fun variation. The problem with this is that white's group on this side is not so strong.
No.
So
wise.
So white didn't have to get that fancy. White could just connect here. And the whole point is to cut the black stones off. So white's going to win this fight. But white got a bit too aggressive here, and eventually had to back off. Means that, and the ladder didn't work apparently. So yeah. So okay, they're switching to this fight, but the right side is not. It's not established. White hasn't established a win yet. So black can play here and capture these 3 stones, which is, as far as territory is concerned, is huge.
Huge. Yeah.
So it would be bigger than these stones. But let's see what they did. Okay, yeah, of course. Okay. And maybe that's it. So this is a huge fight. So I just refreshed. Okay, so this is the board position right now. White is not alive in the center. This is going to continue to be an exciting game. If white adds a stone to that, at this point, white will be alive. So that white can add a stone, and it looks like it's probably alive. Borderline.
you're
It's
saying-
actually I'm a bit worried about that. But also, there's this huge move on this side, which is an issue for white, because this is going to be really big, and it connects up to black stones.
Okay, we are going to take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we will look at the top
The next
board
game, the
games
top board
in
games,
just a
yes.
sec. So don't go away. We will be right back. All right, we're back. We are now going to take a look at the top board games. We have 1 through 6. Board 5 was a forfeit because one of the players did not show up. So if you're wondering why we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, that is why. It is
Okay.
also.
Okay, so this is J Han and Q Wang.
I don't know either of them.
So I think Black was a young man. He's a young boy.
He looks very young. I would say maybe 12.
Yeah, yeah. And White is playing the 3-3 and the 3-4 point, old style. And he looks like he knows how to do that. So yeah. Here Black should probably not play that move covering. Locally, this would be a reasonable way to continue. Or Black could at some point switch to the left side of the board. So for instance, this would be a big move that people like to play now. People just don't like to be invaded in the 3-3 point, so they play this Shimari fairly early. So yeah, with strong players, you often see them playing the Shimari before this, because White's going to jump into the 3-3 point. This is just the way modern Go is played. You see a lot of people play this move. The two moves in the top right, Black can just leave them. Black hasn't lost anything yet. So it's a good point in the Joseki to just forget it and play away. This exchange is bad. Locally, if Black is going to add stones, Black should play here and then just go straight down. So Black doesn't need to play the Atari from underneath, which would allow White to capture. Sometimes Black wants to play an Atari on the other side, or like at this point. Or sometimes White's going to come in from the other side. Imagine these triangles as Black stones. Black is going to slide in from the other side sometimes. Black just doesn't want to play that Atari, this exchange of Black playing here and White playing here. It just makes White so much stronger. Yeah. So, back to the game. So that was a bad exchange, and he connected to that's bad also.
Wow.
So this was a bit heavy. It's because you should recognize this is bad shape. It's the empty triangle shape here. These three stones with Q15, R15, and Q14. That's what we call the empty triangle. When you have a square-like shape there, a triangle with an empty hole here, it's a bad shape. So it's bad shape because when you get into semi-I, you're going to lose. And it's not accomplishing very much. So when I said that Black should not have played that exchange, I was assuming something like this, and White would have the opportunity to play here at any point. And that's a position where Black has played this move and allowed White to capture here. So that was what I was talking about. So it's worse than that when Black has this heavy shape. And it looks like that group was the problem that caused Black trouble later in the game. So White's keeping that Black group cut off and is moving out towards the center. Everything White is doing here is, according to, it's very logical. So this is the way to attack. You want to, first of all, White played here to make sure that Black did not connect underneath. So if White had played, some people might think this is kind of a shape move. If you allow Black to connect underneath, you don't get much of an attack. So cutting Black off here, and then whatever Black does, White's going to split the two Black groups and move out towards the center. A very logical way to continue. And now Black's created another weak group. This is where, at some point, let's just ignore that group on the top side. Usually Black would play here, but Black's worried about the right side. A way to deal with that would be to play here and, for instance, do stuff like this, starting making shape for this move. Moving out from this group, it's not going to die. So this is how Black sort of continued. He's made a third weak group. It'd be nice if this group could sort of link up with that group, but White's going to split Black. So White's, again, this is a splitting attack. It's almost textbook, the way White is playing this. And so Black cannot connect up. So this is looking very difficult for Black already. So Black has sacrificed those stones on the right for the time being. He doesn't really get very much out of it. There's still a cut here on the third line. There's a cut here in the center. So there's some weaknesses in the positions that Black has created in the process of sacrificing. Oh, White did cut here. Okay. Okay, so he's established a potential profit, but White decided that it's not big enough to capture here. So I can understand the decision. Like, this is a big move. White could have played here, but it's when White plays away, if Black does capture here, at least White will eventually get this squeeze, which does reinforce White's position in the corner. So I can understand White playing away. I might have just gone ahead and captured it, but it's a big move. but it's okay. Okay, so this is a sequence that can be played in the corner. The ladder has to do with it. So for the time being, the ladder favors white. So white cut, okay. And oh wow, black played away. I'd like to see them finish the bottom left corner.
I know. I can tell you right there. What?
Okay, so there's a ladder here, which is not working for black. So it's a bit tricky, but it's going to hit those white stones before. Let's just play this ladder out.
For the ladder challenge out there.
Yeah, because it's a bit unusual that it looks like it might hit that black stone, but it's not going to. So at this point, it either connects up to the right, or in this case, it's going to squeeze out to the left. So it's not working. So when black cannot win the ladder, it becomes an issue. So I would suggest that when you have a position like this where the ladder favors white, if you're really good at the fighting, sometimes you can find a way out of this. It's very tricky. So I don't advise it, right? So
yeah.
I would suggest that black should play here, in which case, at the very least, you're going to get, you can actually, black can push through here. In this case, black has a solid connection out. So obviously this stone is better here, connected out, than having it in the other place, because now black will have the time to save this side, and black is pushing out, so white's falling apart here. So having this stone, so in the game position, black couldn't do that because the stone was in the wrong place. So in this case, if black does that, black's going to get cut off. Black's going to get surrounded. So that's how this move works. And white cannot accomplish much. What white's going to do is white's going to play here, and white's going to get this forcing sequence. It's going to reinforce white's position on the outside. And this is a joseki, so an even result.
Okay.
You can probably find it in books even. It's a pretty well-established joseki. It's the AI version though, so it's slightly different. Yeah. Okay. So that's how I would suggest for people to handle it.
Interesting. That's right. You have to connect. You just connected the wrong way.
It's a bit annoying when white gets to connect underneath like this. You lose a lot of points in the corner. So that's why this is a good move that you can play. So the old joseki we had white playing here, that's even easy. It's the same thing, only it's easier for black, because now black has a cut on the sixth line.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so black played here. In the game he played here, so why not connect? If he plays here, he does have an advantage for the time being. So if white plays something on the outside, black can play here, black can play here, black's going to win the race to capture. So why not connect? If you don't connect, white can capture that stone and live at any point.
Right.
So white's going to answer that here, and it's still very challenging. White can play here, and making this one eye, it makes it difficult for black to win that. So when something like this, let's say something like this happens, something like this happens, there's no way for black to win without playing the ko.
Right.
So basically, white got some influence on the outside plus a ko in the corner. White's happy with this result. So this is an example of it not being so good for black. So it's not so good for black already, but it's really weird when they play away from that. He just couldn't find a good move, I guess. So here it's again, just like white was playing in the bottom right, white is playing to cut black off. White is splitting this group from the group that black made on the top side. White has taken a loss in territory on the top side, but is focusing on attacking the black group that I've just circled. So he's playing an attacking style and a very logical style. So I like the way white's playing here. The ladder still favors white. Oh, this is the game variation? Okay, so that didn't accomplish much for black. And all that has happened is that it's created a cutting point. Yeah. So that was a mistake. And you can see how black's position on the top is in trouble also. So yeah. So in this game, basically the white player is just a very strong fighting player, and black got into trouble, got outfought in this fight here. So white's just taking the profit, and this is where black resigned the game. So this is a bit one-sided. I think that black's mistake here was he made too many weak groups, and up to this point, it's still manageable to a certain degree. So at this point, if black had focused on the weakest group and added stones to it with something like this, they say you play diagonally when you're in trouble, when you're trying to make sabaki. So that's what this move is. And black's just trying to get some forcing moves. Black would do something like this and would be moving out towards the bottom side. And black's going to survive. Otherwise, if white plays from this side. Covering here will establish an eye. Black's pretty close to getting 2 eyes in this shape. So black's going to be attacked on the other side too, but nothing's going to die. So this is better in the game in that way. You want to keep the number of weak groups to a max of 2. The big mistake a lot of people do in the opening is they worry too much about the territory, and they don't worry enough about the weak groups. So you want to be focusing on your weak groups for black. It's these 2 weak groups, and you also want to remember which is the weakest opponent's group. So more than how much area you have, you do want to focus, especially when you start a fight like this. You want to be very aware of what the weak groups are, and so black is going to reinforce the weak groups. And eventually, black is going to try to make a counterattack against this white group here in the center, which is feasible. It doesn't have any eyes yet. So that's the winning scenario for black. There's still that possibility. If we look at the territory, black has some areas here. Maybe not territory yet, but black has 2 areas here. White has 2 areas here. It's not as if black has completely lost the game. I don't like the way black's playing, but if he can handle his weak groups, he's still going to be able to win the game in the middle game maybe. So that was the big mistake, is that black allowed white to create a 3rd weak group. So now black's group on the bottom side is weak. I sort of still want to try to escape here, but bad stuff is going to happen on this side. So it's or even if white just continues to split black in 2, it's going to be very busy for black to try to save all 3 of these groups. He has 3 weak groups. So keeping the number of weak groups as low as possible in this variation is the answer.
Makes sense. All right, so that's 1 down, and 5, as we mentioned earlier, was a forfeit.
Okay.
And so
we have this game, and let's see, I'll just sync it to
this
see.
is Alex Key, one of our North American professionals.
And someone was asking, is the game finished? Because maybe they're not moving very much. White is Alex Key. And he's playing a very solid game here. But they have some more moves, so it's not finished. Okay, so it took some time for it to sync, but I've got a lot of extra moves.
Okay.
So they're still playing maybe. Okay, let's look at the opening. The opening is the key point in this game. Now we're looking at really established, strong players. They're playing like AIs, basically. So this is a joseki you can play in the top right corner. And white jumps into the 3-3 point. Black is preventing white from invading another 3-3 point. White splits the side. That makes sense in this case. Okay, so they're okay up to this point.
Okay.
Okay, that's the joseki. So basically, if black plays here in this case, the bottom side is not so urgent, so maybe white's even going to answer here. Sometimes white doesn't answer in the 3-3 point, but in this case, I think it's okay for white to answer. And white would continue surrounding the right side. So black's trying to get something extra here. If white answers now, then that's just, black actually might go 1 further here. That's the exchange here. When white white plays the 3-3 point, the exchange is generally good for black. So that's the ask that black is making there, and white ignores it by playing the extension. So this whole thing, then white, so like if I've done this, I would probably just go for the 3-3 point. This is where I differ from where black wants to play. So the 3-3 point is big in territory. The whole idea here is that black plays the 3-3 point. Black doesn't have to play on the side. So I sort of don't like this side move.
This is
the move that black would play if white plays here. So in this case, black needs it, but in the game, black doesn't really. Okay, so that's a solid move by white. Okay, up to this point. Okay, so black plays here. And this is a joseki thing. So if white pushes through, black can cut here. And the whole thing behind this hane here, the exchange here is creating a threat where black can cut on the second line. So white can capture the 1 stone, but black is going to close off the right side here, the top side, getting an area here. So that's the whole idea. This is a joseki that black is playing. It's a tetsuji also. Joseki, people know what a joseki is, right? It's a order of moves in the corner, which is played by strong players. So both players, both white and black, are satisfied that this is close enough to an even result that they can play it. So it's not as if there's a joseki where one side gets a huge gain It's
And
supposed to be
by
an even
definition,
result.
that's-
The
yeah,
definition of the joseki is that it's playable for both sides. So it's a sequence of good moves, and you find moves that are called tesuji, which is a kind of a tactic. So this E18 is an example of that, where black is using the combination of E18, this cut, and the hane black played before that to create a threat to cut at C18. So another way white can answer that is to play like this, and black will be going after the stone. Or maybe black will extend in this case. This is an unusual move. In this case, black might want to extend so that black has some potential to save this guy on the way. So again, black's building on the top side, just like the other variation, this variation I was showing. So white cut here, and black connects. This is another version of the joseki. And black played here, okay. And so white gets to invade the side. So it would be more consistent for black to surround the top side here at this point. Maybe here. And white would jump out, but black would be able to do this, something like this. Sacrificing 2 stones on the left, and then black would probably do something towards the right side. I don't really know. It depends on how tacky you want to get it. Like black could attack here very strongly, or black could try to play something a bit more light, like this. I usually go for the borderline move, so like then it gets complicated. So however you want to do it. So when black saves this stone, black is looking at something in the corner, but let's see, where did white play? But if black just squeezes here, white can sacrifice the 2 stones and white has 2 eyes. So black does have a ko here, which is a ko, but it's dangerous for black too, because when white wins, it links up to that group on the top side, and black loses a lot of potential. So black has to have some good ko threats in order to play that ko. Oh no, that was the variation. Okay. So black, that makes sense, yeah. Okay, so white's building a base on the top side. Yeah, so now it's alive on the top side. And black is going to have some trouble making use of this wall here, because there's this white group that's in the way when black tries to build an area. Okay, so yeah, this shoulder hit and this shoulder hit are both examples of a reducing move, which is relatively safe. Like if white had played something like this, it would have been a fight for survival. And I have the feeling that white can survive this. That's why I would like to play here and just trash the black territory. But sometimes you can get killed if you mess up, or even maybe it's a bit dangerous. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. So white's playing a bit more, playing the bib move here. Okay. And so white's going to save this group and is looking at this move for later. So when white plays here, it doesn't really make any eyes for white. So white's moving out in the center first. Connecting here is it looks like a strange move. So for instance, white could have played here and here, and black would have no continuation. So if black connects here, maybe not. But like this just looks bad for black, even if white extends here. So white doesn't need to have the stone here. It's not necessary. What's more, black has really lousy shape on the left side, and I don't like this for black. So I think this move, the connection looks just a little bit heavy. White played here. Okay, yeah. Okay, so he got to play that move inside black's territory. But you can see white's not continuing on the bottom side, because if white pushes through there, it doesn't really save the white group. It doesn't make any eyes, because maybe it looks a bit dangerous. So again, it's sort of borderline. So white decided not to do that, and black got to save the side territory. Okay. And black is building a territory in the center. This should be okay for white. My gut feeling is that this should be okay for white. Okay, yeah, so they're into an end game. Let's just take a quick look at the territory. So black has something like 35 points in the center and about 15 points on the bottom side. So it's about 50 points. Yeah, white's close to 50 points. White's maybe a bit above 50 points. So I think white has a lead.
Yeah, plus
this doesn't
Oh,
look
wow.
like much has happened. It looks like
No.
it's sort of the same thing. White's probably ahead on the board.
That's what it
But
looks like.
they're going to finish the game. I think that's, we already saw the interesting part of the game. So I
Cool.
think, just to recap, they're playing a lot of modern moves. I think the way black handled this Joseki on the top. So basically, when black has played this exchange, black should probably be more consistent to just build the top side. That's a pretty big side that black can build towards the center, and this would still be an okay variation for black. That was probably a key point in the game. Okay, next.
That one.
Yeah. Okay, this looks like a big semi race to capture. Fight to the death.
My goodness.
Okay, let's.
Somebody is not.
This
gonna
is
be
wild.
happy.
I probably won't be able to keep up with this one.
It's okay.
I'm jet lagged. Okay, very normal opening. Okay. Yeah, so going down here is a modern Joseki where black's taking more of the corner. When white plays here, black gets the corner territory. White's getting a good position towards the side, so it's okay. Okay, so this is an alternative to jumping into the 3-3 point. Black can jump into the 3-3 point, maybe something like this. It gets a bit cramped in the corner if we go into this variation. White's going to play here. So starting from, so you can see black plays at P18 anyway. So this is a point that black's going to play. So basically when he plays here before playing this 3-3 point, he's saying that if white answers in the corner, in this case white didn't, so in the other case, white was playing this Hane Tsugi, or this Hane at T14, which reduces black's bottom side. It creates a weakness with the potential cut if the ladder favors white. Looks like the ladder does. Or sometimes a peep here. So white's creating some weaknesses in black's position and still will have a fairly strong attack against black in the corner. So black's delaying that 3-3 invasion so as not to give that profit to white before starting the fight. So that's the general idea of black playing here first. So if white backs off and takes the corner, then not so much damage to black on the right side is the bottom line. So white plays on the outside, and you, like I was in this other variation, I was talking about white playing here, which is a strong move that is going to cover here, or cover here. So white can cover here, and black has to, connecting on the first line, it's sort of painful, no eyes,
Ow,
right?
yeah.
So it becomes a very effective move. So again, when black plays the low move on the second line first, it becomes less effective. So in this case, black can pull back, and if black is going to play in the corner, black can still do stuff like this. It's still annoying. So playing that first is a modern way to play this Joseki. And so black has I'd call it a living shape in the corner. Okay, so he added that just to be sure. And if white, so let's see if white connected on the outside. White didn't connect. But if we assume white connects on the outside, black has enough room to be alive in the corner. So something like this, for instance. So yeah, so white invades the right side. This was the weakness that black had there. It's an overextension, so this was a wide extension. It gave white room to counterattack here. That's why white let black into the corner in the first one. Yeah. So at this point, white's looking good. And yeah. So this group on the right, white's playing good shape moves. It's 2 one-space jumps. It looks like black has a double peep. White has an idea of how he's going to handle that. So if black peeps here, for instance, like this, for one thing, it's really bad shape when white gets to play here. And in this case, white would just extend. Black has to be careful of the ladder here. This is going to be a ladder. So black has to back off at some point, and white gets to cut this stone out. So white can sacrifice on a small scale to get a huge area in the bottom right and the bottom side. It's all looking good. So this is how white's going to handle that. White has various ways to handle it, but this is just playing the attachment here is the easy way. Okay, so black's pushing through. Black's trying to create a this white group, it doesn't have eyes on its own, so black's trying to cut it off. Problem is that this black group is strong, so white doesn't really have to fight back. White can let black push out there and white's going to focus on strengthening this group on the right, because the group that white is aiming to attack is this black group.
Right.
So white just wants to reinforce the adjacent white group. So again, like I was saying in a previous game, it's important to focus on the weak groups. You can ignore the strong groups. You can ignore the groups that are already established territory, like this black group here. You just forget the groups that are territory, because you don't have to deal with them until the end game.
Right.
Yeah. Well, at this level they know that, but so why did white peep there? That's a weird move. White should be happy just to keep his connection, and there's nothing bad's going to happen. So this is a move that I sort of doubt. This peep here, I don't see white. I don't see why white has to hurry to play this peep. There's no meaning to it.
It's kind of a thank you move too, right?
Well, it creates issues when black tries to play moves. Yeah, white gets cut off. Okay,
Yeah,
so
now white's
this is potentially, well, white's going to be okay, but white got a bit more busy than he needed to, I think. Yeah, so now he's got a weak group there on the top side.
This kind of position is kind of getting shredded.
Well, yeah. Black is okay. So black is also worried about the bottom right, but I would like to, and that's important. It's important, but with black, I would like to keep the fight on the left going. So, like for instance, something like this is one idea. And if white saves those stones, black can curl around. So isolating these stones would, because attacking here, black wants to. Sort of wants to add some stones to this black group, which is not 100% alive yet. So that's why I would be wanting to continue the fight here on the left side. Cutting white off and making a white group weak. The right side is weak, but white probably has to start with this move, so I don't think the whole thing is going to die. That said, this is a big move. I can understand him wanting to play that. Okay, so white's trying to create an attack here. I'd say black has to make a mistake for this to work. Right. Yeah, so it didn't work. That's not very impressive. Okay. Oh, now he plays here. That's too late, right? So that's why
he's just made white
they got into this
completely
wild,
thick on the outside.
That's why they get into this wild fight. Okay. So at some point, black would like to play this move and see what white does. So if white plays here, there's a potential eye there, which would be very reassuring for black. Potential eye if black plays here at any point. In fact, it's usually sente, because white would usually answer with something like this. Because black only has the one eye here. This is black's captured 3 stones, but it's only one eye. So, so black would like to create that extra eye. If white does something like this, the counterattack would be this move. Black can cut white off. And white would have to make a second eye.
Oh, that's a semi-eye.
The group in the corner is alive. In this variation, black has, well, white can probably survive. White can make a second eye, but black does have the jump here. So, and also it weakens white's group on here. So when black jumps out here, that is. This move. The white group on the right is weak too. So in this variation, black's going to be okay, because when black does, at some point, if black plays here, black's making a threat of h11. So if white plays here, black can play here. There's all sorts of issues there for white. So I sort of want to see what white does in reaction to this move, because sometimes in this variation we saw white taking away black's eyes. So I want to see if white's going to do that or not. Okay, now he starts the fight on. He should have done that earlier. It's probably, okay, so white answered it. Well, in this case, it's okay. Okay, so white won the semi-eye. But you know, it would have been much worse for white if black had done it earlier, as I was suggesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so white did take away black's eyes there. Okay, yeah, so black didn't think this through very well. Okay, yeah.
Oh dear.
I think maybe white was a bit too aggressive here.
Yeah.
So let's see, where are we? Up to this point, it's okay. Okay, so this is where white could be a bit more. So for instance, white could have taken the profit
Where's the profit?
The profit here.
Oh, that's interesting. That's
Hmm.
interesting. So why is that enough profit? Well, for one thing,
Well,
he's
black
one thing
hasn't
he's alive.
accomplished anything.
Right, right.
Like I don't know what black has been doing in the process. So black will get the 2 stones.
Sure.
I think this is okay for white. Let's see. Let's sync and see what I've done wrong here. Okay, so in the game, so maybe white tried too hard.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, but it's going to be a
I
semi.
mean, because it looked pretty.
So yeah, here white's getting an eye with Sente. Oh no, he didn't. Okay, so
Okay.
black played. Okay, so black decided it was. So if white plays here and here, say we do it this way, and he's going to play here. The question is, the problem is that white's not alive. So if black just connects here, white can play here and is alive. That's alive. But black can play here first. Let's see, how does this work out? Maybe this one is not alive, right? So white cuts here, black cuts here. And white doesn't really have a good way to make an eye there. So that's going to be dead.
Jeez, what a mess.
So that's why white added a stone to that. But black didn't answer. So black played here. Black played, where did black play? Black played here. And white captured the black group. White, and this is all we have? Okay, I'm waiting for it to sync. It's syncing now. Okay, it's synced. Okay, so this is the board position.
Right.
It was like this for a while, so I wonder what happened. So let's see what the
Let me
territory
check.
Black has.
Which
20, 30, 40. Black has a fair amount of territory, but it's not over yet. But white still has a good position on the bottom side, and white has various ways to handle this attack that black has just played. So for instance, white could play. Let's just play a different move there for white. I really don't want to change the game record here because it does cause issues for me. So something like this, white can capture the 2 stones. Black needs to play here in order to
Prevent
kill
the
the white
second
group.
eye, yeah.
So it's not as if white's going to get into a lot of trouble. Black's group here, it still is not connected. So
Right.
black has to make a connection between these 2 stones in order to save that group. White's pretty strong in the center. There is the issue of black pushing through here, which is going to happen. So this is undecided. There's a lot of stuff that can happen.
Let's do this.
There's one more game.
Yeah, let's actually just take a quick break. Did that?
What board is this?
This is Lee Lin,
Mm-hmm.
and this would be
Board.
1, 2, 3.
Maybe 4.
Actually, I can check.
Probably board 4.
That sounds right. Board 4. Correct, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this game was very well played by white from the beginning,
Mhm.
and there was a semi on the left side.
Bill's a very. I remember Bill's games. He's a
Mhm.
really solid, thoughtful
Mhm.
player. Does not. I mean, he will if you
Mhm.
provoke him, but he's pretty patient player.
Mhm. But black did win that semi on the left, so
Mhm.
that semi on the left, the race to capture, black is winning that. Black has captured white in the top right, so black has various territories, but the whole area in the bottom right is going to be white's. So that looks like it's going to be good enough.
Yeah.
They're fighting a fairly important ko on the bottom side here. We're going to take a break?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We will be right back, folks. Go get your coffee, a little bathroom break, and we'll be back shortly. Thanks for watching. Hang in there. And we are back, and so we're looking at game 4 between Mr. Lee and Mr. Lin. We will definitely look at that. We may or may not get to game 6. Remember, folks, I'll be back at 7 tonight. I think maybe Michael Chen is doing the recap with me. And in those cases, like if we don't get to game 6, then I might ask whoever's doing a recap to focus on that game. So, because we got to eat.
Okay. Yeah.
You get, as you were saying, you got to keep focused on the weak groups.
Right.
I get weak when I get hungry.
Okay. That's important. Okay.
All right.
Are we ready to start?
I believe so.
Okay.
We are.
Okay. So white plays a Kakari. One thing we learned from Master is that pressing here is really big. And so this is similar to something that Master was doing, and AI's after that. So generally, I think strong players would play here, or maybe play some kind of a pincer. So sometimes this is a pincer modern players like to play. The high pincer is still feasible. It's really complicated when white does this one. And you have to research the joseki.
Just out of curiosity, the 2-space pincer, has that got any play to it?
Well,
high or low?
If you ask an AI, it will say white plays here, and it will generally give a good result to white. This is also a very complicated variation. You have to research it in order to be able to play it. If you don't want to push through and cut, you probably shouldn't play the 2-space. So like, if you're playing a 1-space, this is still complicated, but in an even game, this is going to be playable for black. Same with the 1-space here. It's really complicated, but the fact that the pincer is so close, it makes it easier to kill the white group here. So if something like this happens, it's a stronger attack against the white group. And it means that usually white's going to play something like this, and you can get a kind of a trade. So some top players actually like this joseki for black. For instance, in Japan, it's Iyama who likes to play this with black. And a lot of players actually like this. It's a pretty even result, but there's a little bit that strong players will know about the follow-up, but it's not necessary for anyone else to play. So you just can remember this kind of shape. The final moves here, we used to play here, so that's also pretty reasonably good. White also would sometimes play here, which is a better way to kill the black group. It's just not so strong towards the side and center. And so you have alternative moves that you can choose from, just according to your feeling at the time. So like if you sort of forget exactly where it's supposed to be, you can just place it wherever and pretend you like that move, right? So if you have the general idea, it's a relatively easy joseki to play, is what I'm trying to say here. So the pincer, if you're afraid of pushing through and cutting in a variation like this is pretty insanely complicated. So if you're afraid of getting into that variation and you think you're going to crawl, it's okay to play a more distant pincer. So when white does get a wall here, it's generally better to have the pincer, some distance between this pincer stone and the white wall. And so if you do that, then you still have some room to play an extension here. And if you get to play the key point here and force white to connect like this, then white's shape starts to look fairly bad. So this is the kind of the shape moves that black is looking to play, is the extension here, and then this nice move which is threatening to cut white off at d16. So black can play this and crawl on the third line if black has played a distant pincer, or if black has not played a pincer at all. So I would say a close pincer, or if you want to keep things simple, just play here. This is a move that an AI will like it, and you're threatening to pincer at c12, it will be in this case, to take a local advantage. Or if white plays on this side, you're going to play a double kakari. You're going to start to build the top side as you play that fight or joseki in the top right. And it can turn into a fight sometimes. So this is an AI will not like you for allowing white to do that. The double kakari will degrade your score. Crawling a lot, generally AIs don't like that either. Surrounding a corner like this, we used to think it was pretty important, but it's not decisive. So for instance, white can play here and jump and get a torn turn. This would also be a winning variation for white, according to an AI, probably. Instead, white plays, where did white play? White, that makes sense. So if white does that variation I was just showing you, just think, where's the next black's move? It's going to be here, right? So obviously this is really important. So playing here and sacrificing the top right corner for the time being, it's not really dead yet. So white still has stuff like this, and sometimes white can do stuff like this, and it's not clear that everything is going to survive, but maybe something is going to survive. It depends on a ladder sometimes and stuff like that. So white still has some, we call it aji, some potential with that stone there. He's not going to do that though. So he plays the 3. Okay, yeah, modern players play that. It's sort of strange and intuitively to be jumping into the 3 point when you have walls all over the place. So white has this big wall. White has this corner enclosure that's pointing towards the left. So if white gets to play stones on the bottom side, white's going to have a square shape there, which is really good for a moyo. So usually you would try to play towards the sides. That's sort of old style, but it's still pretty valid. So at this point, I would be thinking of playing a Kakari, for instance, and maybe just an extension. This is it's still playable. It's still a way you can play when you have that wall there in the background. But yeah, but it's okay. Like the 3 point, I've realized that it's okay to play here in almost any position. So it's not necessarily like 30 years ago. Like your teacher would smack you on the head, and you'd be told to go home or something.
Give up the game.
Go back to your hometown. Yeah. Okay. So white's here when white extends here. Black makes the threat, is threatening to kill white in the corner.
Right.
White needs a stone here, in which case this would be a forcing move, and black would get a position on the left side. So by playing that exchange, where black has played a Hanetsugi at C2 and D2, that strengthens the black group, makes it easier for black to make a position here. Or if white pincers, it's going to give it's going to make it easier for black to squeeze out there. Just an extra line, an extra stone here on the second line. It makes blacks, like in an extreme case, which is not very likely, but that stone there can help black link up. So it's some added security. So that's what he was trying to do with that exchange. If he was afraid of the attack that white just played on the left side, he could have played here immediately, and black would still be okay. But he started with this. So this is, you have to have some calculation to be able to do that. When black plays here, the white group in the corner, it already has some issues. So if white plays here, you find this in life and death problems. It's a puzzle that you should know if you want to be a Don player. Most Q players also, like if you're a high Q player, you should know this one. Black plays here. Yeah, I'm showing
Trixie,
you. Yeah,
Trixie.
yeah. And white's best try is to try to cut black off here, but white does not have enough liberty. So the final move can be played almost anywhere. Like you can even go from this side, or you can even cut here. It's gonna, in any case, white's, yeah, it's all good. Provided you play these 2 moves in the correct order. If you play here immediately, this is still a key point. In this case, the corner will survive. Well, let's leave it there. It's still bad for white, but anyway. So white played here, and black played here. So this is a Tessuji. Okay, yeah, so they didn't finish it, but we'll see it happening later. So black has actually captured the white group. Yeah. It can turn into a semi, and they're going to play it out later in the game. But black has enough liberties to be able to win that. So if black had just played the more obvious looking move, white would have had enough room to make it into a seki. So that's why that was not good. So when black plays here and then here, white's not going to have enough room to make a seki, basically. So basically this is the idea, and it's as good as dead. If it's just to try to live in the corner, this would be a ko. But you can see black's already taking the cutting stones, and so it's a flower viewing ko for black, as they say. Okay, so white just didn't deal with that, and he played here. So that was a local loss for white. So I would say the attack here, it was probably a bit of an overplay. In fact, I'd go back to this point and say
push and cut, right?
Yeah, I'd say you'd push and maybe play down here.
Yeah,
is what I would do.
Yeah, and let black worry about it.
And after all, white played in the 3 point, so he should be happy with this. He's supposed to be happy. Or white could push here and get sente. So locally this is sort of bad, but white has cut the black. So white sort of wants to get to this point because not only does it give white a 10-point territory in the corner where it would have been squeezed otherwise, it also does disrupt the base of the black group on the right. So even if black plays something like this, it's going to take some time for black to get, like even at this point, you still have to deal with the clamp at f2. So there's weaknesses. When white plays this hanesugi here, white is creating weaknesses in black's shape, which it does slow it down black's trying to create a solid position.
But I'm confused by white's actual play in the game because white.
Also, this is not forcing anymore, so it's a better attack against the left side. Yeah.
White invaded the 3-3. I mean, I like your move better, just playing the size, right? So white invades at the 3-3. If you're going to invade on the 3-3, he invades and he pushes and he cuts, but he's not yet alive, and then he sacrifices. I'm not sure what story white is telling here.
So the difference is that in modern games, when people play the early 3-3 invasions, black doesn't have an extension. There's the idea that white wants to attack black. So black's making a wall, but it's generally a wall that does not yet have two eyes. It doesn't have a base.
Okay.
So white's looking for opportunities to attack, and is playing with that general idea. So that's the general idea that white has here. If we ignore the local calculations, that's kind of a game plan that he wants to work with. That's why he's cutting there. So it makes sense in that way. Oops. Okay. I don't know why that happened. But the problem with it that made it sort of not work locally is the fact that this is such an effective move that takes black one step forward in making a base on the bottom side. And if white lives, it's going to give black an extra forcing move here, which is going to be very effective in making a base on the left side. And the white group in the center is not strong enough to have a convincing attack against one of the black groups. So like even if white plays here, black's going to get a pretty good shape on the bottom side in this case. And this move are miai, basically.
So the point of the early invasion is to attack black, but in this case it doesn't get an attack.
It's all these effective stones that black is getting here in the process. They're very useful.
Got it.
So that's why I would suggest that white has to play this move, which is a forcing move that is, you don't really want to play it, but you can't help it because the ladder is bad. So playing this exchange and then getting to the key point here, making more of an attack against black on the bottom side. So this would be, and then white would eventually get one of these pincers and would have an attack there also. So that's how I would fight it, and it would be more. It looks like white won the game. So yeah, that's still in the future. So let's get to the game variation. White did get to squeeze from the left. Sorry, I'm getting to my own variations here. So white played here. White's going to sacrifice the corner. White did get a good position on the side, so it's not a total loss. But you can see white's position there. It's not clear how much territory white's going to get out of it. So it was slightly better for black. So this whole thing here. So white did play that exchange. Strictly speaking, it's not a good idea because white's going to lose the race to capture. And so now it's just dead. Okay. So just dead is not good because white did have this move in the corner,
for
a ko. That's
right,
like it's really
ko.
Disappointing, but in the end game it can be significant.
Right.
So you would just leave it because you don't have any. Nothing good is happening here anyway. So it's just dead. So if white plays here, there's no way to kill these two black stones. So if white plays here, black cuts. White can't push. It means that black has an eye, white does not have an eye. Nothing's going to happen. So it's just dead, and it's just a black territory as it stands. Yeah, so it's not really clear what black is doing here in the center. I think the bottom right is more important. Okay, he's trying to do something. So this whole stuff, all this stuff in the center was pretty useless. So I'd go back to this point and say this is when black should invade the bottom right. The center, like white can spend a lot of stones and try to surround some center here. It's not going to be good enough to win the game. So that part of the board is, it's not so relevant.
What's the best way to start the invasion?
I don't know. Like this is really tough. I would probably start from somewhere around here.
Like a probe,
Yeah, so if white answers here, I could play something like this.
and just lightly with everything,
Yeah,
right?
and so this stone is slightly a bad connection out to
Sure.
the center.
Yeah.
So I think black has some potential to make use of that. Say something like this happens. Let's just make it easy for black here. So it's easily understood example. Black's getting an eye there, pretty close to 2 eyes. Black still has some space to move out in the center. Eventually, white's going to play something around here and try to build a center. My gut feeling is it's not going to be enough because black has this big lower left corner, black has a big top right corner. Black's going to get some extra territory while black's probably going to come further in, so black can do something like this. It's going to be difficult to make a good borderline there, and black's probably going to get some territory on the top side.
So black just has to be sort of patient and calm.
Well, he has to focus on the bottom right.
Yeah.
Bottom right
Yeah,
is
yeah,
big.
Yeah.
And so, like, he's playing in the wrong direction here. And that's probably one of the reasons, and, well, this black should be thankful for white playing this exchange, which just killed the white group. But yeah, now he's got this group in the center that's not very strong.
He helped white.
You have to remember white has a forcing move here. It means that these black stones are, as they sit there, they're already cut off. So they're already cut off. If white surrounds them, they could easily die. It means the whole exchange there just created a liability. So that was black's mistake. He's playing feasible moves here, and he's trying to play forcing moves and create some way to get out and reduce. So that the idea there, I like it. But yeah, it's sort of, he has to digress because he's created this group in the center, and that makes it difficult. So like, you're not supposed to be playing on the left side at this point. You're supposed to be maybe connecting up here. Maybe black could get away with playing a move inside, because if black does cut this off, these two stones aren't so strong either. So like for instance, if we assume a variation like this, and black starts doing stuff like this, white's not so strong either. And black can use that potential attack to start creating a shape on the inside. White might have to play something like this eventually. Looks like black's going to eventually get something that looks sort of like eyes. So like after that, it's the calculation and the ability to handle it. It looks like black's going to be okay. That's my gut feeling. And black hasn't lost very much. So black ideally wants to be able to do something like this. The problem with this is that black has this problem on the left side where black has increased the value of the center, and white's going to get a big center this time. So it all goes back to all this stuff that black did on this side, which is not accomplishing anything, playing towards the strongest white group in the top left. So even at this level, sometimes people forget to focus on the right part of the board. And the reason this is the wrong part of the board is partly because this white group is rock solid strong.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to pick a fight with that. It's like you're picking a fight with the biggest guy in the room. You don't want to do that. So yeah. So that's why I dislike.
Unless you have some other friends, which you don't.
Right. No friends in the
No friends in the room.
Yeah. So this was why this is bad, and white took advantage of that.
Yeah.
And basically, white got this. Black had to defend the center, and white got this extra move to attack black on the left. On the right, that is, yeah. So yeah, this is how black is falling apart there. And he didn't really get very much. Wow, they're going all over it. It's a bit unusual for white to ignore this move. But white does have an attack in the center, so I'll give him some slack there. Okay. Yeah, so the attack in the center allowed white to sort of cut off this black stone. So that was what white gained there. So it was a feasible way to play. And you can see how white's just trying to get some potential out of these stones. It's not really going to work, but he's just trying to get maybe some extra potential for the cut on this side or something like that. He's just hoping for and probing to see how black reacts. Sometimes it can be pretty spectacularly good, but maybe not in this case. So the idea would be to extend here and try to link that up with the corner. Let's see. So maybe this. This is, we get this in puzzles too. So black can win the semi-eye, but white can play, oops, that black stone didn't work. So black can win the semi-eye, but white can get a life in the corner. So this would be an example.
Cute.
Or if black plays here, this would be a ko, where white plays here. And maybe this. So this would be a ko.
Wow.
So it looks like white could just play this one too. This would also be a ko.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
if black
more direct,
extends,
more
it's
direct,
this ko, yeah. So this was actually, it looked like it was working. If black lives in the corner, then white can play here, and in this case, black can't cut here. So white would be able to cut off the one black stone. So white could have actually done that. So his plan, he was playing good shapes, and they were working, but he didn't follow up with it. So he played here. So he didn't see that variation, and now white doesn't have anything in that direction. Not very much anyway. He still has an extension at T13. It still is going to work to a certain degree. Okay, so white's decided he's winning the game, basically, because he has this huge area on the top
He's
right,
at a quarter of the
bottom
board.
right. Yeah, and all black accomplished was this weak. You can see black didn't really.
And
Black
even
didn't
here,
take
they're
away the
still-
whole
they're-
area.
Right, they're
Like,
still
this
going to be
is-
like 10, 15 points
When
there, right?
when your opponent has a strong position like that, even when you are invading it, white usually ends up with some territory there. So it's not as much profit as you might think to create this group and run out. And black gave up the whole side there in return. So they play an endgame. That's not going to work. Okay. They're playing an endgame. There's still that thing in the corner, so white can still extend here.
Oh, still.
And if black connects, white can play here, and it's still going to be a
It's
ko.
still going to be a ko.
Yeah.
Wow, that's huge.
So if
It's
black
huge.
answers in the corner, white can play here and capture these stones.
Also huge.
All right, so why
That's,
doesn't he do
that's
that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like 10 points. Or
But it looks like this is where black, let's see, we'll sync it just to make sure. And finish the game. Oh, nope. Yeah. Something crummy is happening with the game file. Okay, it keeps going into my variations. Okay, so that was my variation. This looks like maybe this is the final move of the game. So black resigned anyway.
yeah.
Basically, the bottom right was big enough for white.
Wow.
So that was this game.
No, we'll leave
It's
the other
about time
one.
to
We'll leave
finish?
yeah,
Okay.
we'll leave the other one for tonight. I think
Okay.
maybe Ryan will give him something to work on.
Great.
So
Okay.
hope you guys have enjoyed that. We were going to be here every morning with live pro commentary at the U.S. Open. We will be then back again every evening at 7 with recaps of the game, and then we have some special presentations, as I mentioned. Monday night, we'll be commenting the INAF final. It's a young Japanese pro against an American pro, and then Friday night. We'll be commenting Game 6, what is likely to be the decisive game for the U.S. Open, Game 6. Then also, the pros, when they're here at the Congress, in addition to working with us in the broadcast booth, do simul's, do lectures, and so we are going to be trying to actually record. I'm going to try we won't stream them, but we will try and record those lectures and then post those to YouTube. So I guess keep an eye on YouTube, keep an eye on the e-journal. We'll keep you posted on that as well. So thank you, Michael.
Yeah, it was fun.
Always, very fun, very fun. And again, check out Michael's brand new book, the 4th volume and 4th and final volume.
Probably the best.
It is,
Yeah, I think it's the best.
it is the best.
Yeah.
And it's got Mike Samuel has done the covers for all 4 of them. So we have best wishes out to our good friend Mike Samuel, and a shout out to Andrews Kirchhoff, our publisher, who has really displayed extraordinary patience. I don't know if there's anybody else who's taken 10 years for a whole series of books. So he's been with us there all the way, and of course.
Oh, by the way, just saying, the final white move here in this game, it's a strange move because white could cut. So it's probably wrong. It could be something going wrong with the SDF file here.
That's what I think.
But yeah, the game in general does look like white's winning.
It may be an internet issue. Anyway, Again, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you.
Let me just